The first random review I want to go over is The Book of Henry.
Henry, remind me again why we can't put you in a gifted school.
Because it's better for my psychosocial development for me to interact with a peer group in a normal school environment.
Oh, yeah.
Now, is Book of Henry the disaster film that cost Colin Trevorrow the Star Wars Episode 9 directing job?
Movies like this and Star Wars are the only films where a character can yell, like, no! Like, and you buy it.
I don't think it is. Is the movie good? Well, I'd say the first half of it is good. You have a movie about a young man, obviously named Henry, who's sort of this boy genius, if not a little bit of a Mary Sue. He basically knows everything from arithmetic to social psychology to how to use the stock market, and even helps finance his mom.
Hey, Susan? I guess I could just set you up a direct deposit if that's easier.
I don't know. I'll have to ask Henry.
You have to ask your 11-year-old?
Did our financial statement come in the mail today?
Yeah, I forgot to give it to you.
He actually essentially acts sort of as the parent in the relationship with his mom played by Naomi Watts. The movie kind of, with her character and many other aspects of the film, avoids a lot of sort of cliches that are in a lot of like cute, kid-friendly films. You know, Naomi Watts is a great mom, but she's not the perfect mom. She has a lot of problems. You know, she drinks a lot with her co-worker, played by Sarah Silverman. She plays a lot of video games, and essentially, she's letting Henry, because of his vast intellect, play the adult in the role more so than herself. And that kind of rises to become a problem later in the film, which is when the movie falls apart. Now, I'm probably already in like a minute into this review, and we're gonna dive, and I have to dive into spoilers. So halfway through the movie, Henry gets a brain tumor, one that is inoperable.
Henry, you've got something in your head right now. Something we call a tumor. It's not a good thing.
He has no chance of surviving. So halfway through the film, the kid dies. The thing is, after he dies, this movie takes this whole other direction. Not where the mom's horribly grieving and all that, although we do have that in the film. But essentially, there's this other character played by Dean Norris. You might know him as Hank Schrader from Breaking Bad. And he has a daughter that he is sexually abusing. Henry, before he died, came up with this whole elaborate plan to kill Dean Norris's character. And the mom goes as far as to like go and purchase a sniper rifle.
I need a Nemesis Vanquish 7.62 with a Litton Ranger, night vision scope, a suppressor, and 3 extra 10-round detachable mags. Think you can handle that, or should I take my business elsewhere?
And follow every single step through a pair of headphones on this old tape recorder that Henry recorded for his mom to kill this guy because he's the chief of police and nobody else is going to come after him. This movie goes from emotional family drama about a brilliant kid who ends up getting an inoperable brain tumor to a spy thriller where the mom all of a sudden becomes like the guy in Splinter Cell.
You don't get to talk about my daughter.
And then you're just like, how the, what? And like this thematically and structurally makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And then basically towards the end of the film, she has a sniper rifle. She's about to take the shot at Dean Norris, and then, a group of photos of Henry when he was a little boy falls down. And Naomi Watts says to herself, "You're just a child." Oh, now you realize that although he's brilliant, he's still not emotionally developed to understand the consequences of murder. So, she walks outside the cabin, and Dean Norris, like, they even put it in the trailer of the movie, which, like, thank God I didn't see the trailer before I saw the film. Dean Norris sees her outside the cabin because she's making this noise to lure him out. And he's like, "What are you doing with that rifle?" And she's like, "I know what you did. I'm going to report it to everyone."
I know what you've done.
and you don't know who you're messing with. And then Dean Norris, like, basically kills himself, and because he knows everyone's gonna find out that he was raping his daughter, and there was no turning back. So stupid.
I want you to see who you're up against now.
So everything magically works out, and basically Naomi Watts learns that she has to grow up and not rely on her overly intelligent son, and there was a way of letting him go, I guess, by pointing a sniper rifle at another guy's head. The movie would have been so much better if maybe, here's an idea, if you've ever read Flowers for Algernon, they adapted it in a movie, I believe in '68. It was about this man named Charlie who is a little bit of the opposite of Henry, where he was mentally disabled. He was part of this scientific experiment where they would perform surgery on his brain and he would become brilliant. But as the story progresses, he begins to regress back to his normal self. Well, what if the brain tumor, they try to make it operable, but what happens is each time they're operating on it, they actually have to go into parts of the brain that are dangerous, and they kind of warned Henry, look, if we do this, you might not be who you once were.
So we had to see if we could remove it without hurting any part of your brain. It's tricky stuff.
So we progressively see him go from this incredibly intelligent individual to a boy of average intelligence. And maybe he survives in the end, or he dies, but either way, he's not the boy we once knew, and the mother has to learn how to love her son, no matter what he's like, no matter how much he changes. That would have been so much more of an effective story, other than, my son's dead, I'm grieving, I'm gonna go grab a high-powered weapon and kill this guy who's abusing his daughter. This movie, you know what, there was a great review quote I read which said, the Book of Henry really needed an editor. And yeah, I'd say that's pretty much true. So the Book of Henry, would I recommend it? I would say I would recommend it if you are looking to see a film that is a very fascinating train wreck. A movie that starts out okay, but then just goes off course and ruins itself.
Come to this door and wait.
So that's it. Book of Henry, not recommended. And hopefully you'll probably agree.
I am the star, or I am the star. So wait.